If I was having a conversation with someone I disagree with in good faith, I would probably start that conversation with what we do agree with, right? That'll be a logical place to start a difficult conversation. For example, MAGA, Make America Great Again. They have a point. America is not doing so great right now, right? Our kids' math scores are down. Our children's science scores are down. When judged according to international metrics, healthcare system's not doing so great. Wealth gap disparities increasing exponentially. There was an implied promise to a generation of Americans that if you do certain things, work hard, go to college, be a good person, you would have certain outcomes. And those outcomes didn't materialize for majority of people because baby boomers entrenched in decision-making positions lowered the capital gains tax so that their net worth essentially compounds year after year. And post-World War II, US leadership traded the domestic manufacturing industry for national security by making the US dollar the default international trade currency, which gave America the ability to impose economic sanctions on foreign countries through a US financial banking system, but consequently increased the value of the US dollar astronomically, which made it impossible for anyone to manufacture anything in America. Although the logic at the time was that Americans were supposed to upskill en masse away from the menial manufacturing jobs. But everyone here's too much of a dumbass to stay in school, so we just traded domestic manufacturing to Asia and the rest of the world at the expense of working class families. But if you don't read enough, it comes out as, let's go, Brenda! And it's like you have a point, but you don't have the vocabulary to describe your reality because you didn't read enough. You gotta keep reading. If I was
He killed that. And it's so much, like, it's right there in your face, and people just ignore all the decisions that was made in our White House or in our country that kept us. Oh my gosh, it's right in your face, and people still ignore it. They're like, "Oh no, we're doing great." It's like that meme with the little girl was standing in front of the house, and the house is on fire, and then she just smiling. She just smiling like everything is okay, but it's right there. You can feel the heat and everything. Like, oh, that was dope. I like that.
We were founded on a very basic double standard. This country was founded by slave owners who wanted to be free. Am I right? A group of slave owners who wanted to be free. So they killed a lot of white English people in order to continue owning their black African people so they could wipe out the rest of the red Indian people and move west and steal the rest of the land from the brown Mexican people, giving them a place to take off and drop their nuclear weapons on the yellow Japanese people. You know what the motto? You know what the motto of this country ought to be? You give us a color, we'll wipe it out.
A few months ago, after knowing Eckhart Tolle for a while and studying the books, I woke up and I suddenly got it, how thought was just an illusory thing, and how thought is responsible for, if not all, most of the suffering we experience. And then I suddenly felt like I was looking at these thoughts from another perspective, and I wondered, who is it that's aware that I'm thinking? And suddenly I was thrown into this expansive, amazing feeling of freedom from myself, from my problems. I saw that I was bigger than what I do. I was bigger than my body. I was everything and everyone. I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe. And ever since that day, I've been trying to get back there. It comes and it goes.
He's so cute.
It's like riding a wave. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off. But at least I know where I want to go. And I want to take as many people with me as I possibly can, because the feeling is amazing.
Someone told me to watch this clip.
If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, push, step, crush. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks. drawers, pants. But even if you earned it, you still owe. But I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million. And this person has nothing, and you can sleep. You can still go to the movie. These are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they're millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me.
All right, let me know y'all thoughts on this because So do you think that if you worked hard, and I'm not talking about Donald Trump work hard, and I know there's generational wealth. I'm talking about somebody that had nothing before and they worked hard to get to become a millionaire or a billionaire. Do you think that part of their money should go into the community, into the country? Or is it their money? Like, is it, I worked this hard, why do I have to give it to you? Type of thing. Let me know what y'all think because I've heard both sides. And to me, I know it has a lot to do with like taxes or, what's that? How much people get paid, hourly rates. Dang it, that's not a word I was looking for, but like minimum wage. If I got $1 billion company and I'm still paying people $9 an hour, stuff like that. But as a owner, you do have the choice to say, okay, I made $1 million this month and I choose 90% to go to my employee. But let me know what y'all think. I really want to know what y'all think about that.
Need a good laugh today? Listen to this.
And she said, I'm going to cook you a gumbo you've never eaten. You're the best gumbo you'll ever eat in your life. We sat down there, and I met her husband, and he wasn't saved. And he was just kind of checking me out, because I was the preacher, wondering what I want, probably an offering, how that kind of junk is. And that's not true. But the 2 kids really like me. But I'm so glad to come to this house. I said, thank you, and everything. Puts it on the table. She brings it to me. Now, I look at it, and I could tell by looking at it that it was El Trasho. You understand? I could tell. I'm going to eat this stuff, because the Bible said eat was set before you. And if she asked me, I'm going to lie like a dog. That's what I'm going to do. And I said, I'm going to tell a little white lie. And the Lord spoke to me. He said, no lies are white. He said, you be honest. I said, that's easy for you to say. I'm the one here. I got to eat this trash. You understand? You up in heaven saying, suffer. I don't want to eat this stuff. Now, I take this spoon, and I know that her husband looking at me. And he ain't tasting it neither. He's just looking at me. He's just holding it like that. And he's staring at me. And the 2 kids, they ain't eating nothing. They're just looking at me. And I'm not exaggerating a bit. They're just looking at me. I'm thinking, my God, man, take it. And I put it in my mouth. Son, my God, worse. Trash. Bad. Bad. Major bad. Kill plants with it. Just bad stuff. And she said, well, how do you like it? And my mind, lie. And the Lord said, don't you lie, you tell her the truth. Boy, I'm praying rapture. Get me out of here. Out of here. Rapture. Now. I don't want to say nothing. I'm not a rude man. I'm not rude. I don't want to be rude. To me, if I tell her to be rude, I'm just sitting there and I'm going. Now, her husband is just looking at me with that spoon. He ain't that touch. Neither the kid. They're just looking at me. She said, well, how do you like it? I said, well, ma'am. God, I got to be honest. I said, this is trash. And the husband went, bam, and threw that spoon down. He said, I know you're a man of God now. I know you are a man of God. That guy got saved 2 weeks later because of that old dumb gumbo. Trash. I look over there, I can see the dog in the corner going, thank you, Jacob. I ain't got to eat this junk neither.
Do you need to?
Did you know why Satan used science and psychology? Because before we had science and psychology, we called everything spiritual. We knew when people are acting crazy, we say that's a spirit. A spirit done got hold of that boy. Somebody done put a root on him. See, that's what we used to say. But because that's what we used to say, we understood if it's a spiritual problem, there must be a spiritual answer, right? So instead of us going to get pills to sedate the flesh, to trying to control the behavior, we understood the Bible said that this stuff you got to cast out. So they came with psychology. This is what Sigmund Freud and them came up with, because you got to know who they were. I ain't got time to tell you about them, but you got to know who they were and why they would rather have psychology over spiritual warfare, because they hate Christ for one reason. That we began to believe that any disorder or any weirdness of the family of the mind was a neurological issue. Meaning we believe that you can fix it with manipulating the flesh. You got what I'm saying? So instead of us saying they got a devil, we say you chemically imbalanced. If I'm chemically imbalanced, then that means you need to introduce chemicals to balance me. So we call you bipolar when the Bible called you a lunatic. All your life, you have experienced the spirit world. But because they told you that what you were seeing when you were asleep was just the subconscious working out the things of the day or the greens you ate, you didn't know them beings in them dreams that's attacking you are demons dressed up. You didn't know that. You didn't know that woman keep coming having sex with you in that dream, or that man that's keep having sex with you. Those were spirits sent to you, and at that time you probably didn't have enough sin in your life, so those are spirits that came from your people. So what are demons? Disembodied spirits. So they need your body. That's their infatuation with you. They want to act their will, their personality, like spirits of lust and spirits of murder want to murder spirits, but they can't fulfill it. This is how demons work. A demon of lust still wants to lust. A demon of sex, fornication, still want to fornicate. A demon of murder still want to murder. A demon of death still want to kill. Their desires don't change, but they can't fulfill it because they don't have this body. So that's why they're attracted to your body. And when they get in your body, what do? Carry out their lust. In the demonic world, they are trying to carry out their lust, but it's like cartoons. They kill each other, they shoot each other, nothing happen because they can't die. See, what they like is, what did the Bible say? The Bible says the life is in this blood. And this is what they like, because what they can do in this world is final, becomes eternal. So they lust your body.
Donald Trump is threatening to defund California, but it's Econ 101. California is a donor state. We provide over $80 billion more in tax revenue to the federal government than the federal government provides to the people of the state of California. We help pay federal bills. So if Donald Trump's going to continue to threaten 40 million Americans that live in California, maybe we should consider withholding those resources.
Where do you stay at? Because if the president stays in the White House, where do you stay at?
Yeah, so you should come visit. You have an open invitation. The president actually gives me crap about this because he says, sometimes I think you have a nicer house than I do. We stay at a place we call it the VPR, the Vice President's Residence, but it's in the Naval Observatory. So we've got like probably 40 or so acres of completely private space.
In an observatory?
Yeah, and
we could be damn Peeping Tom, huh?
That's right.
Bro,
no,
bring me in, dude.
Peeping Tom on stars,
dude. Nobody will buy a new bra in that neighborhood without me knowing it, dude. I swear to God, brother.
The telescopes are pointed towards the stars. Theo.
Way.
Tough with your assault rifles and your sticks. You should be standing here with us. You're on the wrong side of history. We know you got a job to do, but you took an oath to the Constitution, not to the fascists in the White House. Think about what you're doing now. Think about what this means. Coming into our community. Feel tough with your assault rifles and your sticks.
You can tell he's passionate. He's angry and passionate.
China came out with a statement, I think it was today, it might have been yesterday, I don't know, I just saw it, where they were like, due to the U.S. Tariff raise, we will be raising tariffs 125%, and any other raises the U.S. Will do in retaliation will be inconsequential and will be seen as a joke in the history of economies. And I'm just saying, maybe you don't want to get into a math contest with China.
Y'all think he reaching? I like his YouTube channel. Juan Birdman. But I like his YouTube channel. He always connects stuff like real world stuff to like history and the Bible. But y'all think he reaching? Let me know in the comment.
You ever heard of the dude named Walter Russell?
No.
Just want to preface beforehand, he was not a Christian. In 1926, he had a 39-day period of cosmic illumination. He was basically in like a trance. There was this being that came to him and was teaching him everything about the universe.
Okay, so this wasn't self-induced.
No.
Something visited him.
So he said he had direct union with the universal consciousness. And what this thing told him was that everything is actually made up of light. It's not physical. Like our life that we're experiencing right now is just a projection of this universal consciousness. So we're basically living inside the consciousness of this God.
Yeah.
But he like was writing out like math formulas and stuff to like prove this advanced science, but this dude had no scientific background. He's like, this is just what they showed me. He stated that humanity needed to live in alignment with the universal law and divine order, or it would suffer chaos, war, and collapse. He was ignored and dismissed by everyone in mainstream science. But this is where it gets weird. Nikola Tesla approached him and he said, keep your ideas secret until you have proof. He said, you should lock them up in a safe for 1,000 years.
That's cool.
And then that's it.
I do love that. That's a great way to get somebody to not talk to you, though.
Yeah.
You should write all of this down. Don't tell a soul.
For 1,000 years.
Put it in a safe. It's so important.
To really
Don't ever say it again.
Don't get it eventually, I promise.
Man, but that is scary, though.
Well, yeah, because Nikola Tesla, he was harnessing some knowledge that he talked about getting from an entity as well.
His response is amazing. We need to protect him at all costs. Watch this.
What would you rate Bonnie Blue on a scale? What?
When was the last time you went to church? When was the last time you went to church?
Probably yesterday.
Oh, yesterday?
Yeah.
Right, good job. Like you're asking these questions. Just a silly question. I mean, you're asking students at ASU who are going for like educational purposes. Want to rate a girl or not? It's like that's just a little silly to me.
Is it? Is that like against God or?
In certain aspects, yeah, because you're asking me to rate a person based off their appearances rather than you're more or less objectifying them based on a number because you're trying to rate her on a 1 to scale.
So you don't think there's an attractiveness scale? That's like a evil thing to do?
God made people the way they should be. God made people.
So you don't have preferences?
I don't have preference. I think you're asking people for their certain preferences. I'm not trying to like educate, but like, you have a good day, bro.
All
I'm
right.
trying to see the question.
All right. Okay.
You'll stay in the job that you pick for the rest of your life.
The same job for the rest of your life? I didn't know that. What's the difference? So you'll just work us to death?
We'll sure try.
I'd like to see something done about the illegal alien problem that would be so sensitive and so understanding about labor needs and human needs that problem wouldn't come up. But today, if those people are here, I would reluctantly say I think they would get whatever it is that they're, what the society is giving to their neighbors. But the problem has to be solved. The problem has to be solved because as we have kind of made illegal some kinds of labor that I'd like to see legal, we're doing two things. We're creating a whole society of really honorable, decent, family-loving people that are in violation of the law. And secondly, we're exacerbating relations with Mexico.
We're talking about putting up a fence. Why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back and they can cross and open the border both ways by understanding their problems. This is the only safety valve right now they have with that unemployment that probably keeps the lid from blowing off. I'd like to see something.
What are the face peelers? Back in 2023, there was a series of videos that went viral, and these videos were captured in the Peruvian Amazon. Chaotic scene in which the villagers were running around screaming, saying, we're being assaulted by aliens, and they were using the term pela cara, which is face peeler. I had to go down there to investigate a particular incident, which was the attempted abduction of a 15-year-old girl. And she told me one evening she was in her backyard, and she bent over to pick up the fruit. She felt a wind at her back, and she looked up to see what was generating this wind, and she saw this person dressed in black body armor flying on a disc, and then he landed next to her and he grabbed her from behind. He put his hand over her mouth. Another one lands in front of her and he grabs her legs. They took out a long tube, and this had a cream in it, and the guy that was holding her mouth from behind, he started to smear this cream all over her face. And as he was doing it, the guy in front said, be careful, don't put too much on because you're going to ruin the flesh. After they applied this stuff to her face, they take out a laser scalpel and they begin to make an incision under her jawline, and she starts to struggle. And as they're beginning to cut, she starts to freak out, and she gets her hand underneath the helmet of the guy behind her, and she starts to lift up on the helmet. He gets agitated, he freaks out a little bit, and they drop her. She lets out a blood-curdling scream. Her brother and a group of other villagers come running instantly. And Talia, before she passed out, she said that the assailants said, let's go, we got to get out of here. And then one of them said, no, we can't just leave her here. What are the
That's terrifying. But the crazy part is, like, okay, you could think of alien monster, some type of, I don't know, something that's not of this world. But then what if it was a human? What if it was a person doing this and they wanted to give them the idea that it was an alien? I don't know. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. Let me know what you think.
It's rare that you get a mic drop moment that is this conclusive. Check this out.
I need you to apologize. You said, I'm from Africa. You are surprised that we from Africa worship a white man. Yes. And I said, you Muslims colonized many countries and you imposed Islam and a God from Arabia on those countries that you went. Allah was not known in Africa. Was known only in Arabia because Arabic language, right? The Jews never mentioned Allah in all their books. So the name Allah is not known by any of the previous prophets. It's a new name, and according to the Torah, we don't need to follow a God that is not known by our forefathers. Now, for you to say we Africans worship a white man, it shows you are ignorant, respectfully. It's because Jesus is not from Europe. He's from Israel. They are not white people. And you don't impose that on me. You don't know me from anywhere, and you say I'm worshiping a white man. That's why I said I was offended.
Did this atheist just prove that God exists? Watch this.
There's no God. God ain't real, okay? If there was a God, there'd be a lightning strike in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, this is very concerning.
Did this atheist just prove that God exists? Watch this.
There's no God.
I was gonna say it was fake, but it's outside raining and lightning. But if that's real,
Africa never had borders. The countries in Africa today weren't made by Africans at all. Amazing. I'm going to tell you when the border lines were drawn, who drew them, and why every conflict and war in Africa today has a direct connection to a secret meeting held in the 1800s. Pay attention. In 1884, a group of European powers met at a secret location in Berlin, invited by German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck. It was called the Berlin Conference, and not a single African was at the table. The meeting was to divide the continent, drawing straight lines through ancient kingdoms, cultures, and families. In Africa, rivals became neighbors, and neighbors became rivals. But before that, Africa wasn't divided. Kingdoms rose and traded, tribes moved freely via rivers and seasons. African people belonged to the land, not to lines in the sand. The truth is, what they called borders, we called home. If you want to learn more about Africa's past, present, and future, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter, linked in my profile bio.
Someone told me to watch this clip. Was that ant that stood up to me?
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Are you kidding?
Well, how about this? Wow. They put this in a children's film, huh? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. Tyranny. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. I would show this clip in my class. You let one ant stand up to them, and they might all stand up. You see the power of solidarity, the power of all of us together? Individually, we feel helpless, lonely, often frightened. Together, nothing can stop us. No tyrant can rule us. No dictator can demand from us subservience. Together, we're powerful.